The behind the back. I'm new to this and desperate to reach out for help. Okay, so I'm going to go into a little history first and try to answer questions I would ask. I've known my wife for 5 years and been married 3 years and 4 months. We have a 4-year-old son together. I am 39 and she is 25. In the beginning she was very wishy-washy, so before she became pregnant, she broke my heart several times. After she became pregnant, she started to want to be with me again. I wasn't sure, but I was only spending time with her and sleeping with her but wouldn't commit. She ended up having sleeping with an old boyfriend twice during the first few months of her pregnancy. 1 month later I told my family and apologized for my issues and picked our relationship up. I was there when my son had skull surgery at 3 months and was there later when she had surgery. We get married and start our life together. She's younger and at the time very unpredictable and flaky on issues, unable to fully think things through. Our marriage becomes rough. I had an emotional affair with a woman who lived 15 miles away July to August 2021, which she found out on my birthday and left me. I broke it off and dedicated myself to watering my own lawn. I spent my time trying to win her back. She was only gone a month, but it was too long. During the time she had one drunken bar outing with friends where a friend of her friend was asking her to come home with him to celebrate her upcoming divorce. She claims she refused, got too drunk and requested a ride home to my house. Her friends tried to talk her out but eventually gave in. I took care of her. Eventually we reconnected and she came home. October, an old guy friend hits her up on Facebook and they start talking. He starts flirting with my wife and I expose it to her. She changes the passcode on her phone. In anger of my jealous behavior, I overheard her talking about having a girls' night and inviting him. I also overhear her girlfriend say 2 wrongs don't make a right and she's not comfortable going out in this situation. She comes to her senses, tells me about it, and we move on. November, we both find out I have a son from my past. His mom claims she told me and texted me when she was pregnant over 10 years ago, and not only that, but she claims I had the same cell number at the time. Again, she leaves me. With her already outstanding trust issues, she can't believe I'm telling the truth, so I get proof, including my ex-wife, to admit that my number was not the same. She comes home again shortly before Christmas. This year has been good. I've been committed and fully love my spouse. I've worked very hard and we've had minimal arguments. She was accepted into nursing school this fall semester and I've supported her as best I know how. During the beginning of school, our son started having violent outbursts in school, and as a father I disagreed in denial that there was anything wrong with him. We are great loving parents who don't actually spoil that often because we can't afford to. Eventually I jump on board and agree with her. School gets harder and more stressful and she changes. She starts going to lunch to actual restaurants with her single school friends, and I become hurt cause in 2 weeks she had already went out with her friends more than we had dates all year. Also, one of these school single friends is a guy, we'll call him Jay. The week before Thanksgiving we talk and she's telling me that she's about to start having girls' night with her school friends. I asked if I could tag along on any of these, but the reply was that she wants to keep school and home life separate. I asked about Jay attendance. She said I'm not going to lie, he'd probably go. I told her I was uncomfortable with that situation. Then I asked a big question, has there been any flirty interaction with you two? She said the previous day, at lunch, that he was getting very personal with her and was flirting. You want to come read to me or you want to come live with me? She claims she responded with my husband might disapprove of that. She said later that day he texts her with an apology and he didn't mean anything by it. A few days later I asked her if she had deleted any text messages and she said no, and I confront her that I read no interaction or apology for flirting in her text with Jay. She admitted to the deleted text and said she just didn't want me suspicious cause there's absolutely nothing there between them. When I asked what their deleted text said, her answer was very undetailed and vague. I didn't mean anything. It's okay, I'm not studying that crap. I can't shake off how different she's acting. Showing hard signs of an affair. Dressing up in date night best clothes for school. Fixing her hair and makeup for school. A couple times she went to school without underwear, which I thought was odd. Taking an extra set of clothes in her car. An insatiable urge to lose weight and work out suddenly. Long 3-hour lunch breaks. Staying at school to study till 5:30, but I later find out the building closes at 4:30 to 5. Then she downloads Snapchat and I can no longer see what's being sent back and forth. We've had talks throughout all this and she claims my insecurities have stressed and messed with her school. Her life. She's went numb and doesn't feel anything. She says her only advice is to leave her alone. She says she wants to feel different but isn't. She says she feels the same as I do, lonely. She says I've yet to support her. I feel different on that. I work a 40-hour week, pick up our son almost every day. I pick my daughter up every day. I wash dishes, clothes, vacuum, pick up. I bought her a nice watch she needed for clinicals. When her blood pressure cuff broke, I bought her a new one. I'm constantly telling her how smart and beautiful she is and you've got this. I make sure our home is fed, bathed and in bed by 7. As far as studying, she could have done better. She likes to nap. I never say anything negative of her studies and I'm constantly asking if there's anything I can do to help. I got very sick the week after Thanksgiving and was severely dehydrated and had blood poisoning where I was out a week from work. I'm running high fevers, vomiting, passing out, and still had to take myself to the doctor because she wanted to take a nap. Yes, I was a bit of a baby that week. I made the statement that I did want her to pass nursing school, but there was a selfish side of me that missed her. She took that as me sabotage her life. Any advice on what I need to do? If she fails, she's already told me she's going to be very upset and partially blame me for it since I never support her. She said it may take some time for her to get over this. A week, a year, she doesn't know. She said she's not going anywhere or leaving again. She says she loves me but doesn't like me. Currently she's not touching me, we're not sleeping together. She can guarantee that she will not cheat on me. We can talk like friends. She doesn't want to hang out or spend any quality time. What do I do? So, me and my wife have been going through a rough time lately. She has finally brought me back into the picture some. We haven't been sleeping together as much due to her nursing school stress. Last night after a great family night she did some weird things out of the normal. She put on lingerie but didn't really touch me. After her foreplay she flipped over and didn't want to face me, plus she wanted me to pull out. She's almost always faced me and we haven't pulled out prevention in a year, so why now? I felt used and had some trouble performance. I'm sure she noticed. I almost felt as though she was thinking about someone else. I am insecure and jealous, so it could all be me. I have tried to talk things over and over with her. I haven't yet spoken about our bonding last night, but I swear I felt like I was someone else. There was no connection. She never said my name. She wants to buy a top to wear for her upcoming end of the semester party night she's about to have, and that's not like her either. She says it's for her, so she feels good about herself. She says I can trust her and she wouldn't do anything wrong. I really want to fix our relationship. I desperately love my wife and my family. I've totally made mistakes and deserve mistrust for what I had done in our past. I've checked her phone lots. She uses Snapchat to text her school friends, so I'm unable to see what's going on. Wish it was as simple as looking at the phone bill because she started using Snapchat to text and call. Almost everything I've asked her she's had somewhat of a legit excuse. I wish I could know what her thoughts were. I feel like she's just using me at the moment. I totally wish the love was back. Not too long ago it was there. I miss my wife. I miss my companion. I miss my best friend. This has driven me to deep depression and X thoughts. My kids have been the only thing keeping me going thus far. I do know that she's going out in a few days with her friends to drink and party and dance, and who knows. This gives her the perfect opportunity to do something dirty. My warning signs are the fact that she was searching for plus-size tops to wear out that night. That's not normal for her. As a husband and guy, that's not okay if I'm not there. It throws a red flag. Also, she hinted that she needs to shave down there soon, and she knows if she does that before her night out it will definitely throw a flag for me because she's let herself go downstairs for a while now, even though I've suggested in the past. She will probably stay out all night, yet on a normal day it's difficult for her to stay awake past 11 p.m. And after last night's bonding I totally felt like someone else. She went from foreplay to bending over. We never do that. We always ease into a face-to-face, then a bend over or her on top. When I asked her to go on top she said no, she wanted it like that. I had trouble performing. I am quite certain she will ride along with someone else. As a matter of fact, and my gut feelings, I feel she will more than likely get ready somewhere else to avoid me. She actually made the statement of putting the kid to bed around 6:30 and leaving directly after. She never spoke of getting ready or anything, so it tells me chances are that she may grab clothes and stuff, go to her mom's or a discreet location, get ready, and go to party. I'm thinking to avoid conflict with me mostly, so I don't ask questions such as why you are wearing that or why did you shave down there. I've overheard her talking to her friends saying anyone is invited, and better question is what am I not going to do? When she's been talking, she walks far away so I can't hear. I'm fairly convinced that she's not going to chest on me. We had an honest talk last night and it's much worse than I realized. She has thought about it but would not or couldn't go through with it. She says she's thought of it as a means to hurt me or give a means to end our marriage. As she claimed, though, she says all men are snakes. Why would she want another? We've been through a lot in our marriage. I'm losing hope. I'm losing fight. I'm losing confidence. My pain is getting the better of me. I deserve better. I'm one of the most thoughtful husbands you'll ever find, and she agrees, but it's not enough, I guess. She passed her first semester of nursing school, which is great, but I don't see our marriage or my sanity holding up very long. I wish she'd just make up her mind. I want to go to sleep and never awake to this nightmare again. I'm certain that if she does something or has done something, it will come out. She is bad to slip her stories when she tells lies, and she forgets the lies she tells. Many times in our past she has confessed to hurtful lies because she can't handle the guilt. I recently had a man-to-man with my uncle, who has always been my biggest Christian male role model. I didn't have to say much before he was telling me the truth of the matter that I never realized. He basically said, "Can you blame her? Son, you're not leading your family. Women bounce back and forth, that's why they're always undecided, but God designed man to lead in a straight line so the woman can follow your path. You've stayed at the same crap job for 11 years due to fear and convenience. You live in a house falling apart that's tiny and next door to family who is always in your business. You never followed the laws of marriage to leave your mother and father and cling to your spouse. But you also possess qualities that women would give anything for. You're the most thoughtful, always trying husband I've ever met, and to top it off, you're a damn awesome dad. If she wants out, let her go, because you won't be without someone treating you with love for very long with those qualities. If she has any brains, she'll see that, but it'll be after it's too late, and she'll think that could have been her or it should have been her. You can't control her, she's going to do what she wants, but if you're doing things right, she's going to follow. I told my wife all this that night. She actually agreed with everything he said. Surprised to me, even agreed to my attractive qualities women miss in their own marriages. Even how she'd wish it was her if we moved on. So, I stopped talking about her night out. Told her she looked wonderful and I loved her. She thanked me more than once for watching the kiddo so she could have some fun, and I actually felt real appreciation. She loved all over me with hugs all evening before she left. She showed no red flags of cheating at all. I was at peace regardless. She texted and Snapchatted me all night. She was home by 1 a.m. and she got into bed and wrapped her arms around me and loved on me. She left her email logged into the computer and she was exactly where she claimed all night. Well, guys and gals, I know to trust my gut now. She came to me and confessed to having the tingles for her school friend. It had not gone any further than her having the start of feelings. Not yet a crush, but feelings she regrets and feels uncomfortable having. She said she doesn't have them anymore cause it's wrong. She says she's fine but is still waiting to feel different. Our drama marriage has worn her out. She feels like sometimes it's not fair and that she gave up her happiness over not breaking someone's heart. She admitted happiness within our marriage at times, but there's been much she's had to overcome. Her heart is still unsure about us. She wants everything to work out between us. She wants to see my leadership and not hear about it. Update everyone. Well, where to start? Things were going okay for us for a while until the first week of school started back. By her second day of class, she had reverted back to the whole "I want to feel different but I don't" statement, but she added, "What am I going to do? Where am I going to go?" to her recipe of disaster. I asked her what she wants in a marriage and she struck me with the most selfish, spoiled answer I've ever heard. She wants to be so compatible with her mate that she never has to compromise. Are you kidding me? About 3 weeks ago she locked her phone because she stated she needed some privacy in her life, but said she would unlock it for me whenever I wanted to go through it. I did ask why now after 3 years she feels the need to have secrecy, which her reply in anger was because she might have conversations about me on her phone. I have yet to ask to go through her phone though. I brought up just before school started back that she may not know it but was having an emotional affair with Jay. She got upset and basically stated she's damned if you do, damned if you don't. She continued to give every reason in the book that he's not interested in her like that. I finally informed her my feeling is that it's not him pursuing her but the other way around. She got quiet and stated she would stop talking to him so much and keep it strictly school-based. Obviously, she forgot about that statement by the first week of school. We have been still sleeping together and our drive has been somewhat elevated for some reason. My drive is super up over the past months, but I'm not satisfied. We discussed the possibility that I feel something is missing, so I keep wanting more bonding to find it. I feel as men we associate emotional connection with physical intimacy, but she said that's not men, that's just you. I'm exhausted. I'm beat down. I'm still trying. I refuse to take the easy road and give up leaving myself with unfinished business. Final update. School started back that we needed to work on our communication and trust in each other. But it was clear to me now that she wasn't truly committed to making our marriage work. The fact that she was even entertaining thoughts of being with someone else was the final straw for me. I couldn't continue to be in a relationship with someone who was so selfish and unwilling to compromise. So, I made the decision to file for divorce. It was a difficult decision, but one that I knew was for the best. I hired a lawyer and began the process of ending our marriage. I also made sure to document all of her infidelities, her lies, and her selfish behavior. I was determined to make sure that she didn't come out on top in this divorce. As the divorce proceedings went on, I made sure to be as uncooperative as possible. I refused to settle for anything less than what I deserved, and I made sure that she knew it. I also made sure to let everyone in our social circle know what she had done and how she had treated me. I wanted to make sure that she would never be able to show her face in public without being reminded of her actions. In the end, the divorce was finalized and I came out on top. I got full custody of our child, a fair share of our assets, and a generous alimony settlement. I also made sure that she would never be able to take advantage of me again by getting a restraining order against her. While it was a difficult and painful process, I was finally able to move on and start a new chapter in my life. I was able to find happiness and love again, and I was glad to have left my toxic marriage behind. In the end, I realized that my uncle was right. I couldn't control her, but I could control my own actions and decisions, and that was all that mattered. My comment: was this ending the one you expected? Or you believe OP will behave like his old self again? Story 2. I have just come home after walking our child to school that morning. My mobile rang when I was barely through the door. It was a woman on the other end, an unfamiliar voice. It was all pretty confusing to me at first. It was from his phone number. At first, she tried to make it sound as if it was I who made the call. I was utterly confused. After repeatedly pointing out to her that I did not make that call, she said, "Oh, it was a missed call then and I'm just calling back. Do you understand?" This must have gone on for a good few minutes and then it clicked. I felt the most awful feeling in the pit of my stomach and asked, "Who are you?" Her answer, "My name is 30. I'm his wife for the last 2 years." I was shell-shocked. It was as if someone has just informed me he has died. The whole teleconversation lasted for 47 minutes and 58 seconds. I shed no tears. I did not raise my voice nor call her by any name. Not even when she tried to provoke me by repeating, "What are you going to do now as a 40-something-year-old woman with a child? And by the way, I'm 21. She was driven to drive in the dagger in every part of her conversation. I asked for the phone to be passed to him. I had only one question to ask him. I wanted to know if he loves her. No, I didn't get to speak to him. She tried, put the phone loudspeaker on, tried to rouse him from his drunken slumber. He was dead drunk. H is 11 years older than I am. The following 7 days, I was numbed, going about routine with my child in a state of semi-automatism. I did not pick up any calls nor respond to any voice nor text messages from him for a whole week. And when I did, he left a message saying he was on the way home. I said I will send the child away and will only meet him at a neutral venue for a crisis meeting. He turned up, sat down and immediately told his side of the story. I had it all voice recorded. She was 19 when they first met when he was flying in and out of this ex-Soviet bloc country where he spent a lot of time working in 2015. She was a document clerk in his local office there. He said he had never noticed her till about the end of 2015 when, after a presentation he had given, she came up to him, introduced herself and told him how impressed she was with his presentation and how much she liked his voice. He claimed they became friends for about 5 months after that, going out as a group with other company people whenever he was in town, like every month. He thought she was a smart little button stuck in a rut of a country. He offered to sponsor her English classes to better herself. Then the pause started. Sometime in early 2016, he was taken off the project in this ex-Soviet bloc country. He was almost permanently home-based for a few months until he left the company to be joined another. From the summer of 2016, he was spending more and more time on a new project in the Middle East. This was when he made arrangements for her to reunite with him in the Emirates, and she enrolled into one of the offshore universities there, paid for by him. Fast forward. His story was that he ended the relationship the night before she called me. Or maybe, he told her of his intention to do so. I don't know what to believe anymore. He said she knew he is married from the word go. He said he realized he overstepped the boundaries of friendship and that she changed from not minding the fact that he is married to insisting on further commitments in the recent months. She was turning up at public places, restaurants, pubs, creating a scene. I swear, till today, I never had any clue that he was leading a double life. Not a clue after analyzing and reanalyzing. I trusted him absolutely and without qualification in the 16 years we are together. I wouldn't have married him if I had a single iota of doubt about his integrity. During our crisis meeting, I set down several mandates. First and foremost, a medical test. Number 2, after finding solace and guidance, lurking on this board, NC letter to be handwritten by him. Number 3, that I do not wish for him to take up the second phase of the project after the current one ends in May. Yes, there were tears from him, lots of apologies for the mistake, God, I hate that word. And how he reckons I will never ever trust him again, and that life will be hell and he will accept that for the rest of his life. At this stage, I still wasn't sure whether I am staying or leaving. And at this stage, I only told a handful of people about his P on D-Day, our best family friend, who threatened to fly out immediately to be with me and my son if I didn't tell someone in my family. So, I told my dad, just the barest gist, with the caveat don't ask me any question. It took me another fortnight before I rang up his childhood friend and best mate in the UK, our families are very close, and then, my brother-in-law, whom I have very high regards for. Fast forward. After 3 years of not spending Christmas in the UK, we made arrangements, way before D-Day, to go back for Christmas with his family. Mainly for my Phil who is getting on with age and may not have many more summers and winters to go. It was a tough time for me, trying to remain buoyant for our child, for my Phil whom I love very much. Boxing Day when we were all supposed to gather at Phil for a big happy family slap-up. On that morning, out of the blues, I asked him for his Hotmail account password. He provided it without hesitation. I went on it. It was like my chaos happening all over again. I went through every single one of their email correspondence from 2016 to very early 2017 and couldn't stomach the sleazy undertones and the amount of plotting to get to see each other. I cried all the way on the drive to my Phil's. I was an absolute wreck. As I later told my sister-in-law, I was capable of only 2 bodily functions that day, crying or throwing up. Fast forward. By New Year, when we were back home, we have sort of agreed to go on our mode. On NY Day, he wrote a NC letter without my dictating to him the contents. In a nutshell, reiterating that their relationship is deemed to be over and that there should be no contact by electronic means or in person. that he intends to fully concentrate on his family, especially on his marriage, and that there will be no further funding of her education. This NC letter, I told him, will be sent via my solicitor. Also, at this stage, I have included another non-negotiable mandate to our process. Mandate number 4. We have 2 fully paid-up properties in joint names. I asked that he transfers his 50% share to me for safekeeping. He agreed, though he did question the benefits of doing so, insisting that he would never dream of jeopardizing our family assets. I have to remind him that I, for one, have never dreamed that he was capable of such betrayal in the first place. Whilst yes, he couldn't have offloaded the properties without my consent, he could have willed his 50% to a third party without my knowledge. Fast forward. Letter of NC finally ship out by my solicitor on the 19th of this month. We have a family wedding on Thursday, the 24th. An appointment with my solicitor set up for the transfer of properties on the 25th. After the family wedding dinner, we adjourned for some drinks. By the time we actually got home, he had too many pints. That night, he cried and cried. I have never seen him in that state before. He confessed that even though they are no longer in contact, he admitted she texted him twice since 9/11, but he didn't respond. He felt unable to let go of the emotional ties. He said he loves me and our child to bits. He said she loves him to bits and is waiting for him to go back to her. He thinks he sold her a dream of education, a better life, and he thinks he should fulfill his bond to support her. He said he was all she has left. He said that for the last few weeks, his mental state of mind has been affecting his work and he is in a state of depression. His sister and our family friend chortled when I told them about this latter part. They reckon he is playing the poor little me card. The next morning, Friday, we headed off to my solicitor's office. He signed the memorandum of transfer to the properties. On the drive home, I noticed his clenched fists on the steering wheels. I asked him what's the matter. He angrily replied that he has just signed away what he has worked hard for in the last 38 years. It breaks my heart. I told him that I have absolutely no intention of doing anything with the brick and mortars, that I am holding the assets in trust, for him, for our child. I offered to reverse the procedure. He said no, what done is done. Actually, I have already instructed my solicitor to draw up my will. Should anything be to happen to me, all assets are to go to our child when he turns 27. I appointed H's brother and a very close family friend as our child's legal guardian, trustee, and executor of my will. None from my own family is mentioned in it. I phoned my sister-in-law this evening after he left for the Middle East again today. I gave her the latest updates of our sad saga, our conversation on Thursday night, the signing of the transfer forms on Friday. I assured her that I have no intentions of taking advantage of her brother. She knows I truly love him and understands that if I want to play dirty, I would have served him the D papers after he relinquished his share of our properties to me. She says she would do exactly the same thing and her brother is truly an idiot and needs to wake up and stop being too selfish. And she again apologized for her brother's disgusting behavior. Right now, I am totally, absolutely drained. Mentally, physically. I have said to family and close friends who are in the know of his pa, and I have said to him, I will never fight for this marriage for the sake of my child. My dad was a serial philanderer. My mum stayed married to him, to quote her, for the sake of me and my brother. My dad never changed his ways and only stopped after his dosh ran out after his retirement, and I ended up having to pay for my mum's shrink bills in her twilight years as she rues for her lost youth and is battling depression. On the other hand, if I opt to walk away, I would do it because of my child. I have asked myself what example I am setting for him by staying. Until today, I still couldn't call him nor her by any name, in person nor in my private thoughts. It is just not me. Until today, I have never examined his passport pages nor our bank statements, latter of which are usually lying around in our study in the open. It irks me to learn that she has once rifled through his passport pages and went berserk upon finding out that he wasn't where he said he was. Someone pointed out to me that denotes serious trust issue between them. I can't write anymore. I'm tired but relieved that I finally got around to writing this down. Updates the 10th of May 2018. Yesterday was exactly 6 months past DD. Yesterday was DD too. The affair was continuing all these while. I told him I want a divorce. I told him to leave the matrimonial home before our son woke up in the morning for school. I told him any further contact will be through the lawyers. He has a lot at stake here. 6 properties, all paid up except the matrimonial home. I am now in the midst of deciding which of the 2 highly recommended barristers to appoint. I intend to take him to the cleaners. Yes, I am at an angry stage now. Very angry. I had my doubts about whether we were in a real R. That's why I shipped the package to my bill for safekeeping just last week. I have thought about seeing a proper family lawyer to find out my full rights in this last few months. But my solicitor said to me, you don't want to walk down that road. And my IC said to me if we were genuinely in R, I should not talk to a shark because there will be no turning back. How did I find out? Haven't looked at his phone for months. No discriminatory emails nor texts. I was just about to be lulled into a false sense of security and switch off the phone. I think I did indeed switch off the phone. On second thoughts, got it working again. Checked media files for photos, nada. Did a search based on her name. Shock, horror. That very morning, he swore that he has given me full transparency in the last 6 months. Nothing can express the magnitude of my disgust upon the discovery. I am entitled to name O as the co-respondent in my deed as I have instructed my lawyers to do. It will entail having to serve O outside the jurisdiction. This shall be my bargaining tool in my final settlement. I hope, because if I do carry on naming O as co-respondent, she must be served by a court official of the told me country. Should spell deep crap for them both. I do realize now that she may not be the first O in his life. I trusted the man whom I married fully. I didn't hesitate to give him a second chance as I do love him. Maybe still do. But the continuing deceit which I discovered is too much for me to bear. I realize now that I don't deserve this crap. I stood by him when he had naught in his savings. I was there for him 1 year when he was in between jobs and did not have the money to go back home for Christmas to see his parents. I even wrapped our favorite table lamp up for his mum because we didn't have spare cash for presents. I gave up my career to be there full-time for my son and to manage our eventual property portfolio. He was my world. I now discovered maybe I am just being used to provide him with a respectable front. A friend said to me that it is sad that I am finally giving up and that O finally gets the cash cow she is after. I don't find it sad at all. And O, if she is lucky, will only get half of the cash cow. He will have to work full-time till he is 70 to recover what he stands to lose in the upcoming deal. Said to me on the phone call on DD1 that she reckons she's not the only one. Well, good luck, girl. You deserve each other. I can see O be forever looking over her shoulders, wondering what's her sell-by date. More updates, still waiting. Okay, where do I begin? Feeling absolutely horrible right now, but nothing to do with STBXH. Down with a very bad cold. You don't want the full description. The weekend before we were due to fly back from the UK, I was told by Sil and Bill that Phil already knew way back in June when we made the half-term trip. Well, he was suspicious, but he didn't want to broach the subject with me. He waited until we left and he accosted his 2 kids at home and asked them what's going on. Seems that Sil, after conferring with Bill and got his consensus, decided to tell him the truth. Even the part that O is 22. Sil described her dad as being bloody infuriated. While we were still there but traveling to other parts to meet up with friends, Phil gave STBXH's business card to his other son with the instruction, ask him to call soonest. To recap, his son hasn't called home to speak to his dad, nor any member of his family, since early March. Bill then emailed STBXH to tell him call home please. Dad wants to speak to you. It took him almost a week to call his dad. Father-in-law didn't narrate much about the phone conversation, just that he asked STBXH what the hell is going on. It seems STBXH said to his dad it's a long story. I'll explain it to you when I see you face to face. No mention of when he is making that trip home though. His own best mate warned me that it is very likely that he will put a different spin to his story. Sis-in-law told bro-in-law she bets his version will be the world according to STBXH's. I'm not breaking my head over that. Got in touch with my solicitor, or rather, solicitor got in touch with me the week I came home. September 6th. He got an email off STBXH about letter of demand for the boys' school fees, saying he has just received it due to his busy work schedule. He forgot to mention that he was actually holidaying with O in Bali and Singapore, and that he was disappointed at such short notice, and that funds have been transferred to my account. Bear in mind that letter of demand was emailed to him by solicitor on 6th of August, and he did receive and read the email sent by his brother to the same address. I told my solicitor he is a bloody pathological liar. Solicitor also informed me that STBXH is taking me to task for defamatory statements made about O on Cheaterville. He implied that statements were inaccurate and that I made mention of government agencies. Cut the long story short, I told him, look, I didn't know this woman ever existed. What I know came from the mouth of STBXH and the 6 inches thick file of email correspondence between them. Copy of latter also in the hands of Sil and Bill. Read it and see I have made no mention of any government agency whatsoever. Only her full name and nationality. Guess who is crapping in his pants right now about possibility of getting entangled with government agencies? Speaking of which, I think STBXH really thinks I am capable of reporting him to authorities because I discovered that they vacated their love nest to move into another apartment. This time registered under her name instead. I am really trying very hard to brace myself physically and mentally for the battle ahead whilst altogether getting on with life with my son. New school year has just started and everything is in full swing. Son is still doing canny here. I am proud of him. Today he told me that he is voted in as the house captain again. End of last week, I emailed my final instructions to my solicitor for settlement proposal and another letter of demand for the shortfall in the boys' school expenses. I refused to be drawn into his childish allegation of non-access to child and me defaming his paramour on the internet. As a matter of fact, I told my solicitor to tell him sue me. I dare her to travel here to instigate a legal proceeding. I will give myself till Friday before I get in contact with my solicitor again. Most likely, I will instruct him to go ahead and file unilaterally despite STBXH's agreement to do it as a co-petition. He wanted to use the same lawyer, tight-fisted git, and mediate on the settlement. But he hasn't paid his retainer yet, nor has he responded to solicitors' correspondence since the school fees issue. I think he will flip big time when he got wind of my proposed settlement offer. I am still seeing my IC once a month now. Last visit, 2 weeks ago, he told me that from day one, he finds that I'm a very processed person. I jokingly asked him, do you mean processed or possessed? And he says it sounds as if my son takes after me in his resilience in handling this tragic state of affairs. At this moment in time, I can say for certain that things have got to such a state that I don't ever want to see nor speak to STBXH again. I am willing to handle communication with regard to the child via email or other electronic means. The person I married is dead and gone. I don't know this person anymore. I shall allow myself to grieve once the ink is dry on the piece of paper. My son turns 13 tomorrow. Last time he saw his dad or spoke to him was on May 9th. This evening I was informed by the security personnel downstairs that someone left a package at the guardhouse for us. To cut the story short, no, it wasn't my STBXH who dropped by. He must have sent someone else to drop a gift bag. Inside was a note to son which says, "Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. I miss you terribly. Hope son's favorite football team lose today. Love, Dad." I shall give him the present tomorrow and tell him it's from his dad. No two ways about it. I'm half contemplating to take out the note from the gift bag. The floodgate of tears opened tonight. I'm crying, not for my marriage which turned out to be a sham. I am crying for my child whose world has been turned upside down because of the selfishness of the person he worships. It was his sports day this morning. I met up with his form tutor and started a casual conversation. I asked him how son has been in school since the start of the new school year. His form tutor spoke highly of him. Says he gets nothing but positive reviews from son's subject teachers. I asked if he has noticed any change in demeanor in him. He says no. As a by the way, Mr. X, I told him that there are some marital issues in our family front and that I didn't see the need to inform the school since I am still trying to get the legalities sorted out. He appeared taken aback and reiterated that son didn't give him any indication that all is not all right on the home front. 13 years ago, today, my contraction started. Went into labor 7 hours later. There was so much joy and happiness when he arrived at this world. I remember his dad cried when he first held him. We were so happy till I got the phone call on the 9th of November 2017 from O. What on earth happened? With regard to the legalities, I have instructed my solicitor a few days ago to get the proceedings started without any more waiting from STBXH to play his game. He agreed, suggested joint petition before the summer hold. My solicitor was banking on that. I didn't mind either. STBXH hasn't paid his retainer fee yet. A few weeks ago, he contacted my solicitor asking him for a breakdown of his retainer's fee. Upon receiving it, informed my solicitor that he needs to check with his legal department in Dubai to see if the fee is reasonable. What the hell? No further contact from him ever since. He is the one who's got a little bit on the side, waiting at the helm. But he is not in a hurry to get the legalities over and done with. I can't believe I married this weakling. Where did I go wrong? And caught in this mess which he created as an innocent child. The same child he is supposed to love and protect. I am angry, in a way, that there are no apologies in Biff's birthday note to his son. Just I miss you terribly. No sorry for the hurt I caused to our family. No sorry I opted for a life with O which does not include you. My priority is and has always been my son. He is thriving in his father's absence. I thank God and all who supported us for that. In my affidavit, I am allowing access on one weekend a month, Saturday and Sunday. Bear in mind that STBXH is not in the country. I consider that to be pretty generous and mindful of the number of flights he has to pay for. Someone posed the question to me, what if son refuses to see him? I didn't have to ponder long and hard for the answer. I will tell him he has to go and see his father. I will explain to him that a promise is a promise is a promise, and I have made the promise to the court. It really sucks when a child is involved. STBXH never cares two hoots for his collateral damage. Not on DD1 when he dodged the issue altogether. Not on DD2 when I asked him to leave and he took time to collect 2 toilet rolls from the storeroom next to son's room, but not even stepping foot into the room to have one last look at his sleeping child. My comment, this ending, OP had to deal with a lot, but at least she got away from this guy. What you guys think?